I am going to show you one of the most underrated weapons in trading called the divergence. You know, the divergence actually reveals when the momentum in the market is fading and also when a reversal might be loading. Let me ask you this. Have you ever entered a trade thinking, wow, this looks perfect, and all of a sudden the market reverses against you? You know, if you have ever experienced this, and then trust me, this might be the missing piece, you know. So don't go anywhere, just grab your notebook, lock in, because not only am I going to show you what is divergence and how to apply it, I'm also going to show you how I used it just yesterday with my VIP members, and then we were able to catch some trades on Euro US. So let's just jump right into it. First of all, let's define divergence, right? So in layman's terms, I'm going to have a line right here and then another line. Let's call this line A. We have line B, right? So with line A, we have it going this direction, all right, and then line B, we also have it going that direction. So simply divergence means things just going apart, right? So you can see they are not going the same direction, they are just going at the opposite direction of each other. That is literally divergence. When we say divergence, this is the definition of it, all right? So we're gonna apply the same thing on the chart. So whatever I'm about to teach right now is not a strategy that will replace what you have. No. Whatever strategy that you trade with, you can literally apply divergence to it, all right? Divergence is just a tool or a weapon that you can add to your arsenals, all right? Because whenever you are trading, multiple confluences or multiple confirmations is key, right? When you see a setup and you see that, okay, you have different kind of confirmations telling you that this is a buy, it gives you confidence, right? And divergence is one of them. So have that in mind and know that I'm just showing you a weapon that you can literally add to what you have already. So with the divergence on the chart, we're going to need two things, right? First of all, we're going to need the direction of the market. That is the first component. And then the second component is going to be a momentum indicator, all right? I'm going to get there. Don't even get confused. Nothing like that. It's just very simple, but bear in mind, we're going to use the direction of the market. That is number one. And then two, we're going to use the momentum indicator. So what is even divergence when it comes to trading, right? It is whereby we have price action or the direction of the price going in one direction. So we have price probably creating higher highs and higher lows. And then we have the momentum indicator also creating something way opposite, to what the price action is doing. So right here, you can see price going up, but here we have price going down. This is divergence on the chart. So some of the momentum indicators that we can use is one, the RSI indicator. Two, we can also use the MACD indicator, and then we can also use the stochastic, all right? But what I'm going to teach you, we're going to just ignore all and just focus on the RSI, all right? So let's just use the RSI and the market direction. So where can we even find this RSI? If you look right here, you can see the indicators. You click on it and then you type the relative strength indicator. I already have it here. It's on my favorite, but you can just type the same thing, relative strength indicator. You're gonna have a lot of them popping up, and then you just choose this one, relative strength indicator. So I'm gonna click on it. I already have it, so it should show somewhere here. I'm just gonna close this. This is it right here. All right, once you just click on it, it's gonna appear something like that down here. So you can see this is just the momentum of the market. So if we see price just going up like that, you will also see the RSI just indicating what the price is doing. It's just like a reflection of what the price is doing, right? So we see price creating higher highs and higher lows, and then you will also see the RSI moving in the same direction. You see price coming down, you will also see the RSI just doing the same thing, all right? So this RSI is just a momentum indicator. So now let's talk about the types of divergence that we have. We have the regular bullish divergence. We have the regular bearish divergence. We also have the hidden bullish divergence and then the hidden bearish divergence. But we're just going to focus on these two, all right? We're going to focus on the regular bullish divergence and also the regular bearish divergence. So with the bullish divergence, this is where we have price action or the market creating lower lows and lower highs like that. This is a lower low, lower high, and then we have the divergence also creating higher highs and higher lows down somewhere here. All right, so the very moment we spot this you can see, if I should draw my line right here, this is going up, but we have the market creating lower lows, right? So with the bullish divergence, this is where we have price action creating lower lows. We're focusing on the lower lows, whilst the divergence is creating higher lows. So we have a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, right? And by observing this momentum indicator pushing to the upside tells us that the momentum from the sellers is fading, right? And then we have a possible onset of a bullish structure or a bullish trend to the upside, because we are seeing the momentum increasing right here, whilst the actual price action is pushing to the downside. So even before price action switches, maybe with a pattern or whatever, or break of structure, just by seeing this momentum right here pushing to the upside tells us that there could be a reversal to the upside, because we are seeing this creating higher lows. The bearish divergence is just the opposite, right? Where we have price action creating higher highs and higher lows like that. And then we have the RSI also creating this structure, right? So we have the RSI creating lower highs. So we're focusing on the tops. We have market creating higher highs. So higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. And then we have the RSI also creating a lower high, right? The very moment we see this could also be an onset of a bearish structure, because by seeing this momentum doing something like that tells us that we could see the strength of the bias decreasing or fading for the onset of a bearish structure. Now the question is, how do we even spot divergence on the chart? Personally, the only time I'm looking for divergence is when one, price is moving in a very corrective manner, right? So we know price moves in an impulse, we correct, and then an impulse, we correct. This is simple market structure, right? You should also understand chart patterns. There is a chart pattern where price actually creates an impulse, and then we start correcting to the upside, right? You can call this a rising wedge or ascending channel or whatever, but this price action literally is telling us that here we had bias just pushing the market strongly to the upside, and then right here we have the price actually going up, but it's very corrective, telling us that the momentum of the bias is dying, right? So the very moment I see this, I want to know if this is a divergence, right? So this is creating higher highs, higher highs. I want to go my divergence and see if we are also creating, something like that on the divergence, right? It's a lower high, lower high, lower. I want to see. The very moment I see this, I'm not just going to sell because I'm seeing this. This is actually giving me heads up that, hey, because this is happening, just look at price action and wait for that switch so that you sell, right? So the divergence gives me a heads up so that I'll be able to know if this is actually going to drop to the downside, right? And what I also want to do is I want to combine this with a level, right? So if this is happening towards a resistance level, then it even gives it more reason for me to be looking for these kind of setups around these regions. All right, if we flip this, it's literally the same thing where we have price creating lower lows and lower highs, but right here price approaching this support level, you can see we are moving in a very corrective manner, right? So we are creating lower lows right here, lower low, lower low. I want to go on my divergence just to see if price is doing the opposite. Are we doing something like that on the divergence? If we are doing something like that, right, higher lows, and higher lows, then I know that for sure here we could be at least expecting price to push to the upside. So what I'll be doing is I'll be waiting for that reversal at this level after seeing that the divergence is moving in this direction. So now you can see the divergence is actually not an indicator that tells you to buy or sell. It just gives you heads up for what to look out for when price approaches a certain level. So let's take a look at some examples on the chart. All right, so we're going to focus on this region and then spot a divergence. All right, if you look at price action, price was just creating higher highs and higher lows, right? We swept these lows and then price tapped into this region, right? So we want to know, is this a level where price will push to the upside? That is something I want to know. So going down the lower time frame, I'll see on the 1H, you can clearly see how price dropped impulsively, but approaching this level we were very corrective, right? Let me even drop down to the 15 minutes time frame. This region, I can see price dropped impulsively, approaching this level, we are very corrective, right? Without divergence, I personally know that, hey, this is a channel that, once seen in the market, it could be a sign that price could just reverse to the upside, right? Because there's a reversal structure. So with this, I want to get another confirmation. The second confirmation is the fact that we are in the key zone. I want to get more, so I can pull up my divergence, and then right here, right, you can clearly see that whilst this, look at where the cursor is, right? So if you trace it down, this is a low, but right here you can see where it starts from, right? So you can see whilst price is creating lower lows right here, this is creating something very different, right? This is going down, and then we have this going up. This is lower than this, but here this is higher than this. We have price going in a different direction. So just by seeing this tells me that there could be a reversal in this zone. So all I have to wait for is for structure to at least shift in these regions, and then I'll start looking for buying opportunities, right? So prior to me looking for buying opportunities, I already have in mind that I have a divergence playing around this zone, right? So I have multiple confirmations just to get into this buy if it presents itself. Let's take a look at the second one. This is a bearish divergence, right? So looking at this price action, I'm able to see prices creating higher highs and higher lows, but approaching this level of resistance, we are moving very corrective, right? Right here, we had a very strong impulse to the upside, but here price is just moving corrective. So I want to know, if price is likely to reverse at that level as well. Connect these lines, and then I have this channel, right? So we have higher high, higher high, higher high. For another confirmation, I want to look at the divergence. So pulling this up, you can clearly see what the divergence is doing. Right here, this was a high, right? This was another high, but this divergence didn't create another high. Instead, it created a low. So this divergence is going to the downside, whilst this is going to the upside. Once this is spotted, there is a high possibility or a high chance that price is literally going to reverse because we have this divergence, right? So this is actually the power of divergence. If you are able to combine this with chart patterns, key levels, and market structure, you'll be able to get like good entries, and also be very confident whenever you get into a trade after getting all these confirmations jotted down. So I'm going to show you a trade that I took personally. I shared even this trade with my VIP members in my Discord, right? And I used the same system, the divergence, combining it with different structures and all of that, and it was a very simple trade. So let me just break that trade down, and then you get to see. So this is my Discord, this is my Forex private members, right? So if you look at this is a trade that I sent. I said looking for shorts on EU. If I open EU, this is it, right? So take a look at it. You can see this arrow right here, and then I drew this arrow expecting price to at least drop. So this was my entry, stop loss, and my TP, right? This was on Euro USD. So let's take a look at how this played out exactly on the chart. Yeah, so this is the trade that I shared, and you can clearly see how the market actually melted and then got to our TP levels, right? So now what did I even see? The same thing I just explained. We had this impulse, price was just going sideways towards a key level. Where did this key level even come from? If I go on the weekly, take a look at this level to my left, right? So this is actually looking to my left. This is a very strong level in the past, right? I can even scroll further. Right here was a resistance. Way further, look at this very strong key level right here. We consolidated below this level, and then even here, the same thing also happened at this level. The same thing also happened right here, right? So looking at where price is trading, we are trading below this level. And even if you look at this weekly candle, we tried closing above, price couldn't break above, we closed below. So price is really finding it very difficult to break above this level. So any kind of reversal, any kind of structure that shows that price is going to drop within this region, it makes sense. It makes sense for me to be looking for a selling opportunity. So when I woke up, just jump on the chart, identify that level of interest or key level, and then you can see how market moved impulsively. But at that level, we started printing these kind of candlesticks, right? Look at these candlesticks, right? This indicates that buyers are failing to break to the upside. So on the 1H, the same thing, and we were moving sideways. So look at this on the 15 minutes time frame. just looking at this, it just clearly tells me price is gonna drop. But to even get more confirmation, I had to just add my divergence and look at this, right? So we have price creating is a high right here, another high, but this is a high, but this is a low. So right here tells me buyers are likely to lose momentum for the sellers to actually step in. So looking at this and looking for selling opportunities here was not something that I had to even second guess. Right after seeing price breaking below these levels, just go ahead and stop loss here and then TP within this zone. So you can even see right here that I updated my team that, hey, we are in profit. Price actually dropped. That was when price was trading somewhere here, but you can see price is actually, got into our TP levels, right? And one thing I love about this free VIP group is the fact that we are able to have discussions, talk to each other each and every single day, share our trades, what you are looking at, whatever questions you have, you can ask, it will be answered and all of that. And this is literally free. You can just join, so if you want to join, just go ahead. The link will be down in the description. Just tap it, it will lead you to where you can actually request to join, and then you will be actually allowed to join. All right, so this is Divergence for you, as simple as it is, but it's very powerful. You can just add it to your trading arsenal, and trust me, this is actually going to be of a help for you going forward in your trading journey. So if you learned something, go ahead, subscribe, because I'll be dropping this kind of content so that you can also improve when it comes to trading. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.